Coming up on Theater Talk.
If Donald Trump saw the show, went backstage, what do you think the conversation would be about?
He would be saying, oh my gosh, is this a show about me?
Theater Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation. From New York City, this is Theater Talk. I'm Susan Haskins.
And I'm Michael Riedel of the New York Post. And we're already laughing because we have one of our favorite Theater Talk guests of all time. For no particular reason, but just because we like him. I ran into him at a dinner party at Goodspeed, and he made me laugh there. So he's going to make us laugh today on Theater Talk.
I am.
Welcome back, funny man Bruce Vilanch.
God, he's thrown down the gauntlet. Now I have to be hilarious.
There you go. All right. Actually, when we were up at Goodspeed and we were having dinner, you were there because you're preparing a musical.
A musical, yeah.
Called Sign of the Times.
Sign of the Times. We opened July 29th, I think.
At Goodspeed.
Goodspeed. We're going to do 6 weeks there. It's a bizarre project. I never thought would actually happen. It's an original story by a producer named Richard Robbins from Chicago, and he bought up all of Petula Clark's music. Mm-hmm. And a couple of other items from 1965.
Right.
And he asked me to write a script to his story. And I did, and I thought, well, this is interesting. Let's see what happens. We did a workshop, and Goodspeed came, and they said, we want to do it.
What's the idea of the show? What's the story?
It's about a girl who's from Centerville, Ohio in 1965, and she goes to New York because she doesn't know what to do with herself, and she she walks into the world of Mad Men,
right,
where she's objectified, and all that stuff happens that happened to women in the early 60s. And in the course of the evening, she becomes a feminist. She becomes a pre-feminist and one of the early advocates of the women's lib movement. But it's about female empowerment. It's about a woman who discovers who she really is and how she can change the role of women in the world.
And considering that about 95% of the ticket buyers on Broadway are women, very shrewd commercial move
right.
there, Bruce.
If we could dip her in green and fly her, we would.
You were born and raised in New Jersey, right?
I was born in New York and taken to Paterson, New Jersey at 4 days.
Against your will.
Of the first of many insults. I was adopted and they took me to Jersey, which could be the title of the memoir. I was adopted and they took me to Jersey. And I grew up in Paterson, which nobody admits anymore.
Right, right. So
because it's a stronghold of radicals now.
So Sign of the Times set in 65. When did you, what's your era of New York City? When as a kid did you start coming?
In the 50s. The first Broadway show I saw was in 1955. It was Carol Channing in The Vamp.
Oh, right.
And whenever I bring it up, she says to me, why do you keep mentioning that flop? I've outlived that one. It was at the Winter Garden. The sign was, they couldn't afford to take the marquee down. There was a sign on the roof of the Winter Garden that said Carol Channing in The Vamp. It was up there for 20 years. Finally, somebody, like Mamma Mia said, get rid of that sign. It would light up at night. You had to be at a certain angle on Broadway to see it, but it was there. And because they had never paid to take the sign down, so
the Vamp was there all those...
Schuberts are not going to do the work for you. So they didn't take it down, but it was a legendary flop. But I thought it was magic. I mean, first of all, she was this apparition. She came out. Carol was built for the stage. This huge eyes, this huge mouth, and I'd never seen anything like it. And everything was pink and beautiful, and the sets moved. And I said, I want to live in this world. I just want to be in a musical. I want to spend the rest of my life in a musical.
Were you straight then?
Probably not. I was 9. I was, but no, I loved women. I mean, I always did, but there were men I was interested in too. But I was 9, so it was hard to figure. But I straightened that out as I went along. But that was the beginning of my theater going New York experience, and I saw everything after
so
that.
50s,
my parents loved the theater. My father loved musicals. He invested in some. He was a David Merrick investor. So the second show I saw was Fanny, which was
my parents' Merrick's first big musical.
It was Merrick's first show. Yeah.
Be kind to your parents.
That's right. That became the anthem of our life.
Yes.
You know, whenever I would act up, that my mother would be kind to your parents. Suddenly she was Florence Henderson. And then I wrote the Brady Bunch with Florence Henderson. And she would sing it to me. And I would sing My Restless Heart to her. I see a silver bird that streaks the sky, and off we fly, my heart and I, my restless heart. At the end of the song was my restless, 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 restless heart. And I. Life imitates art.
Did you ever see David Merrick as a kid around?
No, I knew him as an adult, but he was already crazy. He was already in the white gloves and the wheelchair.
Oh, after the strokes.
With with one of the wives. But when I was writing the Tony Awards, State Fair was nominated.
Right.
And so I got many phone calls from him telling me what we had to do on the show. We had a joke on that show. Nathan Lane was the host.
Right.
And he said, it's wonderful to be at the Tony Awards where we all put aside our petty differences and join together in one night to hate David Merrick. And afterwards at the ball, he was like in the chair and I saw the white glove motioning me over and I thought my table was ready. So I realized it was David Merrick and I went over to him and he said, thanks for keeping me alive, kid.
Oh.
I thought, oh my God, this is like from a Warner Baxter movie. This is like something that was cut from 42nd Street.
Wow.
And so I was always kind of like on his team. I mean, I never worked with him or anything, but he produced great stuff, all the great stuff from my childhood.
And as a kid, you knew of him, right? I mean, he was that famous.
He was,
David Merrick Presents.
Well, he was Mr. Broadway, and that was when that kind of meant something. It was right before, as you write in your book, before Broadway became owned by real estate people.
Right.
When there were still theater people who were in charge, even if they really weren't. The appearance was that they were in charge.
Right.
And so Merrick represented that, and Alex the Great.
Alex Cohn.
Who I worked with a lot on one thing or another.
What'd you work
on?
The Tonys, and then we did a show. Alex decided that Catskills on Broadway was a great idea, so we did a show called, it was called Comedy Tonight. It was Dorothy Loudon, Mort Saul, and Michael Davis, the juggler. And it ran a week. But
no.
But it was the three of them doing their act. And Dorothy had no act. Dorothy had the act she had done at the Persian Room in 1954 that her husband, Norman Paris, had put together. And so I was brought in to update Dorothy's act. And
how did she take to that?
She was game. She said she was game, but then when it actually came to doing it, everything was a production. She didn't want to change this. She didn't want to change that. We tried it out in Stamford, Connecticut.
Right.
At this gorgeous theater that they have up there, and Alex had a deal or something.
Yeah. I remember
Alex
that.
always had a deal.
Yes.
And Dorothy Loudon, it was hard to get her to change. She didn't feel well. There was a whole tentative thing. So one night she didn't go on. And like the third night, she just didn't go on. And Alex, of course, had figured this might happen. So he had an understudy for her. Not to do Dorothy Loudon, but another woman to come on. And the woman he had was Joy Behar.
Oh, how wonderful.
And she was not very well known at the time. And Joy went on and she killed.
Oh.
And so she was the show, which was called Comedy Tonight, but the opening number, which was called 3, which had been written by Kander and Ebb, suddenly was out because there were now 4. So, John Kander stormed out because he'd done this, I think, as a favor. The two of them had done this as a favor. And he came back. But so they had to redo that whole thing. And Dorothy was none too thrilled.
No, I would think.
Because, Joy was really scoring. And Dorothy had to come up to it. And he thought that would help. It didn't really help. And so it didn't run terribly long. But it was pure Alex Cohn because it was, he was a showman and he was organizing these elements and publicizing it like crazy, and all the great Broadway stuff that doesn't happen anymore.
Exactly. He was wonderful. He had a great line. They used to say to me, "Kid," he would say to me, "Kid, I've had $1 million and I've owed $1 million, and my lifestyle has never changed."
Right. Yeah.
And that's just the way he lived back in those days.
I know. It wasn't great. He had a house in the south of France.
Yeah.
They would fly over, and he just let nothing ever work.
Yeah, but you know who paid for that house in the south of France?
Oh,
the mortgage was attached to the Actors Fund endowment.
Oops. So sorry.
Did you get paid by him? Because he stiffed a lot of people over the years.
No, but I knew a guy who used to tell me he was the Actors Fund Endowment, and he was, but not in the same way.
Well, is that true? We're not going to get sued by the Alex Cohen
No.
estate.
Alex is long dead, and we love Alex, but that's who Alex
But I didn't. Is that in the book? Is that in Razzle Dazzle by Michael Riedel?
Yes, it is.
Now available on Amazon.com?
It is indeed. I'm curious, though, since you are kind of a historian of Broadway in the theater, and thank you for the plug for Razzle Dazzle, I was going to ask you, before Razzle Dazzle came along, what are your favorite books about the theater, about this business?
Well, I guess The Season, Bill Goldman's book. Everybody loves that. And since I was in college that season, and
Oh, you saw everything.
and I saw everything that he talked about. I mean, I was there, so it's very rich to me because not only it was very well observed, but I'd seen everything. Of course, but the world has changed so much. I mean, he's talking about a different kind of theater again.
Yeah.
Before the landlords took over, when it was still the producers who were nominally in charge of things. So that's wonderful, and you know. Garson came and wrote a novel called Smash
Yes.
that was adapted into the television series, but wasn't really.
No, they had to pay just to get the
They had to
title.
pay to get
Really?
the title,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
because it was about a show in the 20s
Yeah.
that was out of town and about how they put the show together, kind of like what Shuffle Along is doing.
Right.
But only he did it in the old-fashioned linear backstage musical tradition, and it's great because it's just redolent of everything about Broadway and the traditional Broadway. That I have on my desk the stack of David Dietz. Is it David Dietz? The 50s musicals, 70s musicals,
Yeah.
80s musicals?
No, Ethan Morden.
Ethan Morden.
No. It's like a coffee table book without pictures.
Oh.
And it's just critical compilations. I think it's Dan Dietz is his name.
Oh.
And he's written this series of books. And they're big and they're
yeah, I know those.
Yeah, but they are really scholarly. I mean, they're not picture books, and
But
they're great references, and they capture the period.
let me put in a plug for you. Mentioned Harry Rigby. I just read it for
Yeah.
the first time, The Making of No No Nanette.
Oh, that's a great.
That is a terrific book with Harry Rigby's fights with Seema Rubin. who
Seema
produced
Rubin.
it. This improbable show where they're bringing out all these old legends who can
Right.
barely walk, you know, Busby Berkeley and Ruby Keeler.
Yeah.
And it's a mess, and it turns into a hit. Now, you must have seen that, no?
I saw it, and I loved it. But and then I knew Harry because Harry came through. I was at the Chicago Tribune.
Right.
And Harry came through he came through with Nanette, with the road company of Nanette, which had Virginia Mayo.
Perfect.
Hold the Mayo, we called her. In the Ruby Keeler part.
Oh, God.
And he would say, she dances so much better than Ruby. But we used to joke that Fred Allen, who was very famous on radio and very acerbic, when Ruby Keeler was in the original 42nd Street, he reviewed it. He said, she trips the heavy fantastic. So anybody who played that part was allowed to get away with whatever kind of tap dancing they could do.
That's right.
So we got friendly when he was in Chicago, and then he came back with Good News, which was Alice Faye. And originally, Alice Faye and John Payne, and they toured it for a year, and then he brought it to Broadway, and John Payne quit before they came in, and Don Amici replaced him. Anyway, when they were in Chicago, they were in trouble. They were and I only came in on it because Abe Burrows was directing it, and he'd written the book, and I idolized Abe Burrows.
Yeah.
Because Guys and Dolls and How to Succeed, I mean, these two of the greatest shows ever. And then Silk Stockings and a lot of other stuff that was not as great as those things, but he was what I wanted to be.
Yep.
And so I worked with him, and of course he had taken the job for the wrong reasons, because he was at the point where he was an old master, but there was not a market for old masters. I mean, because the business was changing.
Right.
And he was doing this pastiche musical that was featuring an old Hollywood star who had to be written around and for just what talents that she had. So he quit eventually. And a lot of people came in. Gary Marshall came in. A lot of people came in and worked on the thing. And it closed after a month when it got into New York.
But you were at the Chicago Tribune as a
Michael Riedel. I was writing the theater, and I was a feature writer.
But fabulous. So you get to be a feature writer during the day at the Tribune, but then you get to work on.
Then I would
learn
work
how to
on
write a
the-
musical.
Yeah, that was.
Working on a musical at
but
night.
because it was before Watergate, nobody cared. Conflict of interest? What?
Exactly.
Please.
When journalism was fun, when you could jump both sides of the
At the
of
Chicago
aisle.
Tribune, where they would go up when Senator Percy's daughter was murdered.
Oh, my God.
And then they went up, and then suddenly, after 3 weeks, they found a knife. Why? Because somebody from the Trib went up and planted a knife.
No wonder
We found the weapon.
you
How did we overlook it?
Is that true?
There were many stories like that. Yeah, they had repeated that trick several times on other murder cases
Oy.
in the past.
Very quickly before I have to ask you, when
Yeah.
you were a kid growing up, you see these shows. What was would you say, the greatest one you saw as a kid? I know The Vamp was the first, but you must have seen something that was the best.
You know, off the top of my head, I have to say the original production of How to Succeed, since we just talked about it. I mean, it was so sharp and so of the moment. It was 1960, and Bobby Morse was a stand-in for Jack Kennedy.
Yeah.
You know, he was the young, the great white hope of the nation, and it was so. Slick is a bad word, but it ran like a machine. I mean, to this day it works. It just works, even though the times have changed and the sexism is different than it was then. It was more obvious then, but and I just remember it was a Bob Fosse show.
Yeah.
So the dancing was like on the money and steps you'd never seen before and clever things happening. So that was, I was 13 years old and I thought, wow.
And the worst? The flop that you enjoyed the most?
My father had money in a show called Whoop Up. Whoop Up, which was written by a guy my mother went to camp with. Moose Charlap was the composer.
Who did Peter Pan later.
Who did Peter Pan, and then they brought in Betty and Adolph and Julie Stein. But we went to all his shows. My father had money in all of Moose Charlap's shows. But Whoop Up was about somebody who discovers, I think, a perfume at an Indian reservation. And it had moments. It had Susan Johnson, who was a great, Broadway belter comedian.
He was in The Most Happy Fella.
Who was in the most, well, singing, ooh, my feet, my poor, well, she had a number like that in Whoop Up. I forget what it was. Caress Me, Possess Me, or something like that. And it was a lot of people wearing light Egyptian, makeup, going, woo, 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 and dancing around with feathers. And now it's all totally offensive. I mean, you would be thrown out of Foxwoods Casino if you tried to sing any of the numbers. But I remember it was like one of those colossal misfires, and I was old enough to realize that it was. I had gotten out of the Vamp, mesmerization stage. I was now, I kind of
little
knew.
critical.
I had a certain, I was saying, this really probably won't work. But, there were a lot of Indian maidens, and that was still if you had a chorus line full of, girls in short skirts for whatever reason, you would run for a while. And this somehow did not do it. It did not run.
All right. Well, we hope a sign of the times is more like How to Succeed in Business.
Baby,
try and
do
then
whatever.
Whoop Up.
It's that period. So
That's right. Bruce Valanche, it's always great seeing you. Sign of the times at the Goodspeed Opera House this summer. We're going to
this summer, July 28th, September 4th.
Theater Talk road trip to see
Theater
Bruce
Talk road
Valanche.
trip.
That's it. Merritt Parkway. Here we come.
That's right. Okay. Good to see you, Bruce. Thanks a lot.
Whenever I shower, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times a day, I use a honey almond wash on my ripped body and an exfoliating spearmint gel on my face. I apply Clinique moisturizer before I shave with a razor and cream by Pour Homme. No cologne on the face, ever, because the high alcohol content dries out your skin and makes you look older.
I'm Rupert Gould. I'm the director of American Psycho. We have a smart, sexy, flamboyant, stylish, edgy cast for clearly what is a smart, sexy, edgy, flamboyant audience here as well. We're really thrilled to be presenting a little bit of the show to you today.
I'm 26 years old, living in New York City at the end of the century. And this is what being Patrick Bateman means to me. But there's something hiding in the shadow, shadow, shadow. I may be dealing with a nameless feeling.
saying that I look amazing, so I don't know. I want it all.
The show American Psycho is about a murderous, power-mad misogynist. If Donald Trump came to see the show, what do you think you would chat about afterwards backstage?
I think he would probably like it, but I don't think he would quite get it. I don't think he would get the subtlety and the fact that it's only misogynistic, because actually he's just a monster to everybody, and that's the point. You know, the women in this show are quite fierce, and also they're quite vivid, so that means he might not like it.
If Donald Trump came to see the show, what do you think you would chat about backstage afterwards?
He'd probably say, I could stand on this stage and shoot somebody and people would still vote for me. And we would all just go, silence.
If Donald Trump saw the show and went backstage, what sort of conversation do you think you would have with Mr. Trump?
Does he do conversations? I always feel he gets spoken at. I guess you try and lock him in one of the dressing rooms so no one can vote for him.
If Donald Trump came to see the show, what do you think you guys would chat about afterwards, backstage?
You're not being fair to the show. This is not the show for Donald Trump. I mean, he's more of like, he would love Wolf of Wall Street. That's like his porn. But this is not that, because this is more complex in the sense that it would probably really piss him off because it implicates him in a way. And, you know, the point of it is that we start to see bits of Patrick Bateman in all of us. And in some ways, you kind of sickly start to relate to him, even though he takes it a bit far. And I think that probably Donald Trump he would storm out in anger, saying that's a poor representation of what a, misogynist should be.
If Donald Trump saw the show, went backstage, what do you think the conversation would be about?
He would be saying, oh my gosh, is this a show about me?
New card, fellas. Picked them up from the printers yesterday. What do you think? Whoa.
Very nice. Cool coloring. Dairy.
That's bone, Lewis. And the lettering is something called Cillian Rail.
It is very cool, but Cillian Rail is about to be discontinued as a font.
Oh, that is such bullshit.
Mine, fellows. Holy shit. Magnificent, impressive, so thick and yet so light. The lettering, Romali in the stock, it's eggshell white. Don't take chances in the game. It matters what you draw. The question's not what's in a name, but what it's printed on. Oh, baby, baby, you're such a card. You make it look oh so easy when I know it's f***ing hard. Oh, baby, baby.
American Psycho takes place in the power-mad, super stylish 80s. What's your favorite song from the 80s?
Oh my God, so much pressure. Favorite song from the 80s is Life is a Mystery, Everyone Like a Prayer.
Coming in the air tonight.
And could you sing a little bit for us?
I can feel it curve. There you go.
Excellent.
Come see the show.
It's in the show. It's actually a cover that's in the show, Hip to Be Square, but I used to be a renegade. I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to give it too much away. I'll leave it there.
When I had my audition for the show, I was allowed. They said you can bring one of a song of your own in addition to what the song I had to learn for the audition. They said you could just pick anything, so I just randomly picked a song that it's called "Don't You Want Me" by the Human League. And when I was finished singing it in my audition, Duncan Sheik said, "You know that's in the show, right?" And I said, "What?" Out of the thousands of songs that I could have sung, so I saw that as a sign that they had to hire me, and they actually did.
Can you sing a little bit of "Don't You Want Me"?
Oh, it's I was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar when I met you. It's like that. Mm-hmm. Don't you want me, baby?
And maybe you have to dance it. I'm not sure I could sing it.
You could dance it?
Yeah, I could go, don't you want me? You know I can't believe it when you say that you don't see me. Don't you? There you go. That's all you're going to get.
Excellent. Well, I feel like this is going to do for 80s synths and on Broadway what Jesus Christ Superstar did for 70s guitars.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
That's the idea. Or Holla If You Hear Me did for rap music.
Yeah, exactly. Whoa. Hamilton.
Yeah.
All
right, thanks, guys. Thanks.
I want it all.
Our thanks to the Friends of Theater Talk for their significant contribution to this production. Theater Talk is made possible in part by the Frederick Lowe Foundation, the Corey and Bob Dinelli Charitable Fund, the Noel Coward Foundation, Carrie J. Fries, the Dorothy Strelson Foundation, and the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs.
We welcome your questions or comments for Theater Talk. Thank you,